When I received my first paycheck, my husband's father smirked and said, "Good, now you can start sending half of it to support the family." My husband nodded. "It's just the expectation," he added. I smiled and replied, "Then you'll love what I did with the other half." Their smiles faded immediately when they saw where my money had actually gone. I 32F landed my first well-paying job in Chicago about 8 months ago. Before that, I worked at a small coffee shop in Peoria, occasionally picking up freelance gigs. Nothing major, but I was gradually building a client base, doing social media branding, and some copywriting work. My husband, let's call him Ravi, and I had been married for 3 years. We met when I was 27 and got married when I was 29. When we relocated to Chicago, we moved in with his parents temporarily, just until we could get on our feet. We agreed it would be for no more than a year, save up, get our own place. At first his family seemed fine. His mom was polite, his dad a little distant, but not unfriendly. His younger brother pretty much ignored me, which didn't bother me. I was focused on working, saving money and moving forward. The job I got was a marketing coordinator position for a food company downtown. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid $60,000 a year and included benefits. I was thrilled. For the first time in my life I felt like I was truly building something. That's when things started going downhill. 2 weeks after starting my new job, I received my first paycheck. I remember opening my banking app and seeing $3,271 sitting there after taxes. I cried a little. It felt like real proof that everything I had worked so hard for was finally paying off. That night, we went upstairs for dinner with his family. It was a Saturday, and they had made biryani. We all sat down together, me, Ravi, his mom, his dad and his younger brother. Midway through dinner, Mr. Kapoor, my father-in-law, turned to me and said, "So your first paycheck came in, right?" I nodded and smiled. "Yeah, just yesterday." He gave a small smirk, leaned back in his chair and said, "Good, now you can start sending half to support the family." I froze, thinking I must have misheard him. Ravi, without missing a beat, said, "It's just the expectation. That's how we do things." I asked him to explain. He said that since we lived in his parents' home, used their utilities, ate their food and occasionally drove their second car, it was expected that we contribute. By we, he meant me. Ravi hadn't worked in over a year, claiming he was between startup. In reality, he mostly played games and helped his father with questionable under-the-table property maintenance work. I asked, "So you're saying you expect me to give up half of my paycheck?" Ravi replied, "It's not giving it up, you're helping the family. It's part of your role now." Mr. Kapoor added, "You live here, you eat our food, you should contribute." No one else said a word. His mother stared at her plate. His younger brother looked entertained by the drama. Ravi genuinely seemed confused why I was upset. I smiled, calm and slow, and said, "Then you'll love what I did with the other half." Their faces shifted immediately, their smugness vanishing. Here's what mattered. I had been planning for months. They saw me as some aimless woman with a part-time cafe job. They never asked about my freelance work, never cared that I stayed up late working until 3 a.m. They didn't take me seriously. That was their mistake. Over the past year, I had quietly saved $28,000 in a separate account at a different credit union, with no joint access. I hadn't told Ravi about it. The money came from branding projects, web content and small business ad campaign. The day after I was hired full-time, I used part of those savings to sign a lease for a 1-bedroom apartment in Logan Square. Clean, quiet, second floor, with a small sunny balcony. The rent was $1,400 a month. Affordable now. I didn't tell anyone. A few days later, I bought a used Honda Civic through Facebook Marketplace. Paid in full, clean title, reliable. I parked it a few blocks away from the Kapoor house, and told them I was jogging or going to the gym whenever I needed. I started moving small things out, a box of books here, a suitcase of clothes there. I rented a small storage unit, and gradually transferred my belongings. It took 6 weeks. Every morning I left with a bag. Every evening I returned exhausted from work. They never noticed. I paid the security deposit on the apartment, bought second-hand furniture, and had a mattress delivered directly to the unit. Everything was ready. I was ready. The morning after that dinner, I acted normal. I made breakfast. I asked Ravi if he wanted to go see a movie later. I even smiled at Mr. Kapoor when he returned from his morning jog at 11 a.m. I told Ravi I was meeting coworkers for brunch and shopping and that he shouldn't wait up. I got into my Civic, drove to my apartment, unlocked the door and just stood there, quiet, empty. I dropped my keys, turned off my phone, and sat on the floor with a sandwich and a can of soda. I didn't cry. I didn't feel scared. I felt peaceful. At 5 p.m. I turned my phone back on, 42 missed calls, mostly from Ravi, some from his mom, one from an aunt in India. At 6 p.m., I emailed Ravi a PDF with the subject line, about my paycheck. Ravi, your father, your brother and you made it clear how you see me, not as a partner, not as family but as a paycheck. So let me be just that on my own. I have moved out. The car I drive is mine. The apartment I'm in is mine. The money I earn is mine. You will not see another dollar of it. I have closed our joint bank account, frozen the joint credit card, and consulted with a lawyer. Do not contact me unless it is through her. P.S. I left your gaming console in the basement. I don't need it. Then I logged off. For 2 days I heard nothing. No calls, no texts. Nothing from Ravi. Nothing from his family. For the first time in a long while, I started to believe, maybe they finally understood. I wasn't playing games. Then the knock came. It was 9:12 on a Tuesday. I was watching TV on the couch, eating cold pizza, when I heard banging at the door, not knocking, banging. I looked through the peephole. It was Ravi. He looked pissed. I didn't open the door. Instead I spoke through it. Do you want something, Ravi? He said nothing at first. Then you need to come home. I left. I am home. This is insane. You're making this a big deal. We had a plan. You don't just walk out like that. We had a plan. What part of the plan was giving your dad half my paycheck? You're twisting it. You're acting like we're using you. You are using me. All of you. You think because I got a job, I owe you. I don't. He slammed his fist against the door. Open the goddamn door, my name. I backed up and grabbed my phone. Leave, Ravi. Now. Or I'm calling the cop. That finally got through. He stood there for a second, breathing hard, then muttered something I couldn't hear, turned and walked away. I didn't sleep that night. 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Handwritten. Inside was a single page. This isn't over. You made a mistake leaving. You're part of the family whether you like it or not. Come back and apologize, or we'll handle it another way. No name, no signature, just those words. I sat with that letter in my hands for 10 minutes. Then I made 2 calls. My lawyer and a security company. The lawyer filed a no-contact request. Not a full restraining order yet, but enough to document the situation. The security company installed a camera outside my door, another in the hallway, and a deadbolt with a keypad lock. I updated my lease with the landlord, flagged my name for unusual visitors, and sent them a copy of the letter. They said they'd notify management if anyone showed up asking for me. A week passed. Silence. Then the real twist came. It was a Saturday morning. I was halfway through my coffee when I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, another call. Same number. I answered. Hi, is this my name? Yes. Who's this? This is Officer Torres with the Chicago Police Department. We received a report that you may be missing or being held against your will. I blinked. What? I'm fine. I'm at home. Who told you that? A man named Ravi Kapoor. He filed a missing person report. Said you disappeared and hasn't heard from you since. Now I was pissed. Officer. I sent him an email. He knows where I am. He's harassing me. Are you in immediate danger? No. I'm in my apartment alone. I'm safe. Can you send proof? Of course. He asked me to email a copy of my lease and a photo of myself holding today's newspaper. I did. An hour later, Officer Torres called back. Thanks for the confirmation. You're cleared. I've marked the report as resolved. Is there anything else I need to do? If he tries anything else, let us know. He's already skating close to filing a false report. I hung up and stared at the wall. This wasn't just a messed up family anymore. This was harassment. 3 days later, another email, from Ravi's brother. Subject. You don't know the full story. The email said, you think you got revenge, but you messed up more than you know. Dad's business is in trouble now. They're being audited. You triggered something you shouldn't have. Ravi's freaking out. He's not the one you should be mad at. It's all our dad. I didn't reply, but I read it twice. Then I remembered something important. A year ago, Ravi had asked me for help organizing some of his dad's records, receipts, spreadsheets, mileage logs, cash payments. At the time I thought nothing of it, just numbers and folders. I helped input them into a QuickBooks file, and emailed it to myself as a backup. I still had that file. Curious, I opened it. Within 10 minutes I realized how bad things were. Dozens of underreported cash jobs, fake mileage entry, most of it filed under maintenance expenses, or family support. He was laundering money through personal accounts, including Ravi's, and some of those transfers went through accounts with my name on them. I wasn't just a bystander. I was a target. That QuickBooks backup I made, I opened it out of curiosity. What I saw pulled me into something way bigger than I thought. It wasn't just weird math. It was deliberate fraud. Here's the breakdown. Over $90,000 in cash payments from unlisted tenants, missing from tax form, double-charged maintenance bills. Same job, 2 invoices, different vendors, but both owned by friends of Mr. Kapoor. Business expenses filed under my name, using our old joint account. That last part hit hard. On paper it looked like I was involved in all of this. If the IRS came sniffing, I wouldn't look like a victim. I'd look like a partner. I didn't know what to do. My lawyer was good, but this wasn't just divorce or harassment. This was federal. So I did something risky. I called Ravi's mom. I hadn't spoken to her since I moved out. She had always been quiet, never said much, never caused trouble, never stood up to her husband. When she answered, she sounded tired. "Hello?" I said, "It's me. Please don't hang up." She didn't. I said, "I think your husband is dragging me into something illegal. I helped with his records last year." I didn't know what it was then, but I looked again. "I think the IRS is already watching." She didn't speak for a long moment. Then in a voice I barely recognized, she said, "I've been waiting for this." She asked me to meet Panera Bread in Oak Park, 3 p.m., middle of the week. I went. She showed up in sunglasses and a coat that was too big for her. She looked nervous. When she sat down, the first thing she said was, "I'm sorry for not warning you." I asked her what she meant. She said she knew what her husband was doing. She knew he used family names, hers, her son's, even mine, to hide income and cover up his cash flow. She said he'd been doing it for years, even before I came into the picture. "Why didn't you stop it?" I asked. She looked me in the eye and said, "Because the last time I tried, I ended up in the hospital. A fall down the stairs." She rolled up her sleeve. Faded bruises, old scars. My stomach turned. "I was going to leave," she said. "I had a plan. Then Ravi married you, and I thought maybe if he had someone else it would break the cycle. It didn't. Instead they tried to pull you in." She reached into her purse and handed me a flash drive. "These are all the files he thinks I deleted. Records, real receipts, unedited." I asked why she was giving them to me. She said, "Because you still have a voice." "I don't." Then she just left. Quiet as she walked in. I sat there gripping the flash drive, knowing this was more than just revenge now. This was evidence. When I got home, I plugged the flash drive into a burner laptop I kept for freelance work. I started combing through it. It was worse than I thought. Fake employee records, ghost leases, rental contracts for units that didn't even exist, photos of stacks of cash inside Mr. Kapoor's safe. But the biggest shock, an email chain between Mr. Kapoor and someone named Whitaker at a bank in Belize. Subject line, transferring holdings to offshore account. The last email said, "Move everything within 10 business days. Tax season starts soon." My hands were shaking. This wasn't just family drama anymore. This was money laundering, tax evasion, possibly wire fraud. And I had it all, in a neat little folder labeled retirement stuff. The next morning, I got an email from Ravi. Subject, "Let's make this easy." It said, "Look, I know things got heated. We don't have to go to court. Come over, talk. No lawyers, just us. We can end this the right way." There was an attachment, a mutual release agreement. 1 page, no lawyer's name. It said I agreed to drop all claims, including financial, and acknowledged I no longer had any interest or involvement with the business records related to Kapoor Family Holdings LLC. I was about to leave, almost ready to scream. They knew I had something valuable, and they were trying to pressure me into signing it away. I didn't Instead, I forwarded the entire email to my lawyer, to the accountant she recommended,
And after taking a deep breath to a federal tax investigator listed on the IRS whistleblower page, I don't know what will happen next. But I do know this. I'm not taking the fall for something I didn't do. And the Kapoors are about to find out what it feels like when their own system turns against them. 2 weeks after forwarding the documents to the IRS investigator, I heard nothing. My lawyer said that was normal. Federal investigations move quietly. Then I got a text from Ravi's mom. Please come to the temple this Sunday. Just 1 hour. I need you there. I ignored it at first. Then she called. She said, I know you have every reason to stay away, but you deserve to be here when the truth comes out. I almost refused, but something inside me said to go. So I did. It was a small side hall at the back of the Hindu temple they often visited in Skokie. Nothing formal, just folding chairs and a mic stand. The whole Kapoor family was there. Mr. Kapoor, in a crisp white kurta. Ravi, 2 seats away, arms crossed. His younger brother smirking in the back. Some family friends and older uncles. About 30 people in all. I stood in the doorway. Everyone turned to look. No one smiled, except Ravi's mom. She gave me the slightest nod, then stood up, walked to the mic and said, I called this meeting because it's time I spoke the truth. The room fell silent. She opened a folder and held up 2 sheets of paper. These are wire transfer records from my husband's hidden account overseas. And these are screenshots of falsified tax reports that used our daughter-in-law's name. Gasps spread through the room. Miss Kapoor stood up, shouting, This is nonsense. But she kept going. You put this young woman's name on shell accounts. You tried to make her sign away her rights. You involved your own family in financial misconduct. Ravi jumped up. Mom, what are you doing? She didn't back down. After years of silence, of swallowing her pain, of looking the other way, it all came out. I'm done covering for you, Ravi. You're just like him, entitled, weak. You let your father destroy everything, and now you're helping him destroy her too. Ravi looked stunned, as if he had been slapped. Mr. Kapoor bellowed, You foolish woman, you'll ruin this family. She turned to him and said loud enough for everyone to hear, You already did. Then she handed me the microphone. I didn't want it, but I took it. I said, I didn't come here for revenge. I came here to survive. When I got my first real paycheck, I thought we were building a future. I thought I was helping this family. Instead, I was used, lied to, pulled into a situation I didn't create. I held up my phone. You want to know how deep it went? Your so-called family man used me as a financial front. There are emails. There are records. And they've already been reported. Silence. Then one of the uncles stood up and said to Mr. Kapoor, You should be ashamed. We trusted you. All of us. And you betrayed that trust. Mr. Kapoor tried to yell something, but no one listened. He stormed out. Ravi followed, red-faced and silent. His brother slipped out quietly. I stood there, the mic trembling in my hands, surrounded by people who finally saw what I had been carrying alone. I went home and cried for 3 hours, not from sadness but from relief. The weight I had dragged for years, the fear, the guilt, the endless second-guessing, finally lifted like dead skin. 3 days later, Ravi sent me one final message. You humiliated us. I didn't reply, but his mother did. Through my lawyer, she had filed for divorce, formally reported her husband's activities, and moved into a women's shelter while she searched for a place of her own. She thanked me, said I had given her the push she needed, but couldn't make on her own. I never imagined my life would turn out like this. I thought I would have a normal marriage, a small apartment, movie nights, maybe even a dog. Instead, I ended up trapped in a web of financial deceit, emotional manipulation, and a family that used tradition as a weapon. I lost a lot, but I found something too, myself. Now I live alone in a studio in Denver. I still freelance. I take long walks by myself. I've learned to enjoy the silence. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had just handed over that paycheck, stayed quiet. But then I remember the look on Ravi's face in that temple, the moment he realized the mask had fallen. And I know I made the right choice. The worst betrayals don't come from strangers. They come from the people who were supposed to protect you. And the only way out is to choose yourself. That's what I did. And I'll never apologize for it.